Welcome, everyone. We're just going to wait maybe a minute or two, then we'll start to see if a few more people would join. Well, we'll go ahead and start. Welcome, everyone. My name is Tony Chris, and I am so glad to have everyone here. Today, we are very fortunate to have Dr. McBride here with us, and I'll introduce her in a minute. Just an initial overview. This webinar is being hosted and supported, of course, through SNRS and our REIC, the Associate Deans and Directors of Research. And today, we're very, very privileged to have Dr. McBride to speak on transitioning from faculty to research and administration roles. A brief introduction about Dr. McBride. Dr. McBride is a nurse informaticist with over 25 years of experience in clinical informatics, whose research focus is on methods development for implementing, evaluating, and utilizing health information technology and data to improve patient safety, quality, and population health. Dr. McBride is a professor and the Associate Dean for Research for the School of Nursing at the University of Texas at Tyler. She is executive oversight. She has executive oversight of the UT Tyler Health Science Center Institute for Health Innovation, Data Science and Research, overseeing data science labs across campuses, supporting researchers in use of large clinical and population health data sets. She has served on multiple technical advisory committees at state and national levels on various aspects of health information technology and use of data for healthcare improvement. Dr. McBride is a fellow and a past chair of the American Academy of Nursing Informatics and Technology Expert Panel. We are so glad to have you, Dr. McBride, and you take it away.
I think we want to talk a little bit about the exciting conference we have in Austin. Tony, Chris, do you want to cover that, or do you want me to go ahead and cover it?
Go ahead, Dr. McBride.
Yes, so we hope all of you are planning on joining us at SNRS in Austin. It is hosted in Texas this year, so we, of course, Texas colleagues are excited about that and hope that you're planning on attending the 40th annual conference that is February 18th through the 20th. We have some awesome presentations that will be happening, and all rigs will be meeting. So it's just a great opportunity to connect with colleagues and hear some amazing research and presentations. And Austin, Texas is lots of fun. So we hope you'll plan to be there this year. So with that, let's get started. What I'd like to do today is set the foundation, particularly for those of you who may not know about this role, know about how you might consider transitioning from faculty to a research administrative role, such as an associate dean of research. What are the duties? What are the competencies? What does it look like to do that? And then I want to open it up towards the end with other associate deans of research and assistant deans of research, talking briefly about how their roles may differ from what my role looks like. Because once you've seen one associate dean of research role, you've seen one associate dean of research role. So we'll talk about that as well. So just a brief introduction of career transition, shifting from a faculty to a research administrative role. It is new leadership, and it definitely has institutional impact opportunities within organizations. We'll talk about how motivations and pathways, really understanding the reasons for transitioning and what available pathways are there for you as faculty that to navigate new roles successfully. And then competencies. What are the competencies needed to actually step into this role? And finally, impact on academic settings. We'll talk about research leadership and how it shapes academic institutions, especially within our schools of nursing, but really truly across campuses and other interprofessional colleagues as well. So why transition? Why would you want to do that? Well, I, for one, really never had it on my career trajectory. Oh, I think I've always wanted to be an associate dean of research. Although my mentor at Texas Women's University many years ago, who was chair of my dissertation committee, actually served in a very similar role at Texas Women's University. And she had this wonderful research lab, and we'd all come in there and convene and get excited about research. And she was very good with methods and data. So we did, honestly, a lot of what I'm doing now in my associate dean of role now. Dr. Patty Hamilton did that. And I would have to say that she has mentored me in many, many ways. And so while I didn't really have this in my trajectory to be an associate dean of research or play a role like Dr. Hamilton played, I find myself having that now and doing that now. So you never know. You may not have it in your career trajectory, but you might find that you end up stepping into it or asked to step into it. So transitioning allows faculty to really influence research policies and shape institutional research direction effectively. Once you really step in and embrace that role, one of the most, I think, just a rewarding part of the role is to support and mentor researchers. And administrative roles provide opportunities to do that beyond any other role I've ever played before in an institution. And it's just lots of fun. You get to help other researchers really strategize how to build their portfolio and enhance their professional growth. So you foster collaboration and funding. This one's the tough part, I think, especially now in this funding environment that we're in. I think we would all agree that this one's tough. But you're in a position to help think creatively about how to do that in this role to help secure funding and promote. This is really important, particularly in this environment, promoting that interdisciplinary research collaboration among diverse teams. And that's fun. And you're in a position where you can do that in this role. Address systemic challenges. You see in this role where you have barriers and challenges with really pushing forward in research, both just operationally with how do you contract with research software you need, from opening up the pathway with the Office of Sponsored Programs. So in this administrative position, you build a platform to address institutional challenges, and that is opportunity. It's also a challenge. So pathways and responsibilities. Let's talk a little bit about common pathways to research administration roles like the Associate Dean of Research. So it is a progressive pathway. You might step into an Assistant Dean of Research and then move on to an Associate Dean and even Senior Vice Presidents of Research, and then on to Dean positions potentially. So faculty members often transition from a faculty role into a research administrative role. You may be asked to do that by your leadership, to step into a higher leadership role. But it also is an excellent platform for transitioning that may include a dean position or vice president of research, as I've said. So broader management skills. This is a great foundation for those skills. What we see as associate deans is we are often recruited both internally and or externally to step into leadership roles. One of the common things we talk about is how much transition there is in School of Nursing deans across the nation right now. And they do tap associate dean roles with recruiting agencies. So you often have the opportunity, should you want it, to actually step into a School of Nursing position from being an associate dean of research. And so we'll talk about why is that? What is it that you end up building skills and competencies with that help you transition into larger leadership roles? So it really is strategic in terms of career planning, particularly for some of you younger folks that may have many, many years ahead of you, to start thinking about what might my transition into leadership roles look like. You would have more time than some of us who are a little bit more senior. Understanding those pathways for leadership helps faculty really begin to position yourselves for these opportunities that you might be interested in. So what are the duties of an associate dean for those of you who might say, well, I don't know really if I'm interested or not. Strategic research planning, you're in a position as an associate dean in a school of nursing to help with strategic planning to support research and growth. You want to make sure that your goals align with whatever the vision and mission is of your organization. And these actually look different depending on whether or not you are Carnegie R1, R1 organization, or R2 organization. Where do you land in terms of the emphasis on very aggressive research funding type opportunities and building that portfolio, but also who have you got that are your researchers that are you're trying to position strategically? Where are they in their career? Do you have a lot of entry level new investigators? Do you have a lot of senior people on your team? So you really have to think strategically about it, how to position your team and what where they are in their career pathway. Other duties, grant development and oversight. This one is a tough one, particularly now. You want to make sure what I think that I didn't recognize, I knew from my own research experience that managing research budgets were not always easy with the Office of Sponsored Programs, with your finance department, to make sure invoicing is happening, that happens accurately, to make sure that software or tools that you need for your research you're acquiring that and spending down your dollars, that if you've got proportions of yourself or other faculty that are buyout to participate in that research, how is that working with budget? So it really is finance management. And when we go into School of Nursing and we're prepared as clinicians and leadership, we may not get that type of budget management skills. So it is definitely an important duty that I manage my portfolio of research funding, but also help particularly young investigators navigate that path through all that complexity. So faculty mentorship and collaboration, how do you build networks? How do you help young faculty and even senior faculty build opportunities that may put them in a position to collaborate interdisciplinary across your university, but also across the nation, even globally, make those connections for your faculty. And I think that is one of the most rewarding for me, because I'm a big networker. I enjoy networking, and I think it's just powerful. And nurses tend to be good networkers. So really important duty that we make sure and help faculty, researchers, and others across your university make those connections. Research infrastructure management. Some of us come in with very mature infrastructure that may be within your university, others not so mature. My role at UT Tyler, this was the very first Associate Dean of Research that they'd ever had in the School of Nursing. So I had a lot of infrastructure to build coming in. I like creative work and building infrastructure. So for me, that's been challenging, but fun. The compliance piece and regulatory requirements and making sure everything is smooth in terms of research operations is a really important duty that we have, and a big responsibility on behalf of your organization, because the last thing you want is for your department to have, or a school to have, challenges with not adhering to compliance and regulatory requirements, not on your watch. So big, important duty there. So what competencies, how would you begin to prepare? Well, first of all, you need a good foundation with research skills. Some of us are quantitative researchers, some of us are qualitative, some of us are mixed methods, and it helps to have a broad spectrum. I think that we all bring our unique competencies and skills with respect to research to the role. And that's why I also think that how we execute in a role looks differently. Mine has been clinical informatics, as you heard the introduction. One of the rewards, I think, to that is I've been able to help really build data infrastructure, 2 data science labs with the institute that I'm also responsible with. However, many of the associate deans, and I hope we have time to hear from others, we have dual roles. And so often what we're building around our own research portfolio, this institute was a part of that for me. And so I was asked to step into this leadership role for the Institute for Health Innovation, Data Science and Research as part of my clinical informatics piece, but it also has been very synergistic with the Associate Dean of Research role, because I've been able to connect our School of Nursing researchers with medicine, with pharmacy, with others that we're supporting out of the 2 data science labs and bringing common interests together. So others have got responsibilities for centers and they typically align with whatever you bring as a unique competency around research. So that's always interesting to see how roles have culminated and aligned with associate deans. So other competencies, leadership and strategic vision for your organization. To be an effective leader, strategic planning, you want, again, your vision and mission and what you're doing in your department to align with whatever your university wants you to accomplish. And of course, it's important also that you align with what your dean wants. What does the dean want out of this role? What does your leadership in your school really want you to do within this role? So it's important that you step into that leadership role and the strategic vision and that you're clear on what that is. And often you're asked to actually bring that forward and make recommendations and design your strategic plan for your schools, or that can be a joint effort. And I think it's best done if it's a joint effort. Research funding knowledge, understanding those funding mechanisms. This has gotten more and more complicated. We are all looking for other creative pathways other than NIH, because as we all know, those funding sources have been difficult, increasingly difficult over the years, but they've gotten even more difficult in the last several years. So HRSA is also the programmatic type funding, understanding those types of things, but things like the Department of Justice or the Department of Education, or all of them have got different funding mechanisms and how you go in and apply for grants versus managing the grant, the reporting on the other end. It can be very complicated in your role. An essential competency is if you don't have it, you need to learn it quickly. And for me, there was a lot that I had to learn about how to do this and help support faculty with all the different pathways, working very closely with our Office of Sponsored Programs. Regulatory compliance and budget management, I've already talked about that. Many of us have those skills going in. I have managed companies. I have managed not-for-profit foundations in the past. So I came in with budget finance type experience in leadership roles historically, but it's different when you're managing multiple portfolios of people's research and helping to support those researchers and working with your Office of Sponsored Programs, managing subcontracts if they exist. So it's a lot to help manage and an important, I think, competency that you have. So faculty development and mentorship, supporting faculty through that mentorship, is also fostering grant writing. So grant writing skills, project management skills. You may hear multiple avenues that you're juggling lots of balls. That is project management skills, and doing it well and getting the right staff in place to help you do that well is essential. So communication and networking is another competency that I enjoy executing, communicating with faculty, good solid communication skills, developing communication portals, other research partners internally and externally, helping those researchers connect with one another, particularly when you're funding and looking for funding opportunity. These slides are not advancing for some reason. So what are the challenges? I think I've already spoken to quite a few of the challenges, but I think one of the biggest ones that all of us out there as associate deans and leadership in research is balancing the responsibilities, because as you might hear, you're managing administrative type roles, academic, institutional type responsibilities and roles. But if you want to actually keep your own research portfolio, some of us do, some of us don't. If you're a senior investigator and you're stepping back from some of that, and you can position your researchers to get that funding and support them in doing so, that's awesome. Many of us want to actually keep our own research portfolio as well. I have been one of those, and quite frankly, being a smaller institution, it was important for me to bring in those funds as a senior investigator. So I have done that and been able to balance it. But what do you need in order to do that? I remember asking one of my colleagues who had been in this role much longer, and she kept a very expansive portfolio of research. I'm like, how do you do that? How do you balance that? And what she said is, I got an assistant dean of research. And so that's what I've been able to do also. And it is really important that you get the right staff to support you, particularly if you're going to maintain that balance and keep all these balls in the air, do them well. You need staff support. And so an assistant dean of research has been just very awesome to have. And I'll introduce hopefully Dr. Dixie Rose, who is my assistant dean of research later, to talk a little bit, and others, if they're out there that have assistant deans or in an assistant dean role, to talk about what that role looks like too. I think the other thing is it is a good opportunity to mentor others into the role. And so you might consider a pathway to assistant dean of research if that avenue is available to you as well. Or if your organization doesn't have it, would they consider it? So navigating institutional politics, wow, that is a challenge. And it's not just politics, it's policy and politics, especially in this environment that we're in, where we have state legislative kind of actions that are impacting academia. This one has become, I think, particularly important for us to help investigators, faculty, our leadership think about how we navigate that with respect to research. It's become a big responsibility, a big challenge, and not always that fun, but a really important role that we play. So we also want to align diverse stakeholders and interest and call for diplomacy and strategic communication abilities. You know, if you've got a bunch of investigators going after a small grant funding, how do you navigate that with the internal politics you have, where all of us might be competing at one institution for one small portfolio of funding that comes from one of our associations, for example? How's the best way to handle that? And what do you want of your policy to be within your institution around those types of things? Are we going to have our internal researchers competing against each other? Sometimes you can do that with grant funding, sometimes you cannot. But if you can, is that a good idea? So those types of things. Resource and research support, supporting early career researchers while managing limited resources. These days, that is where we are. And they're getting more and more limited. So the demands of problem solving and strategic planning around all of that is definitely a challenge these days. Opportunities to impact culture, though, is one of the positive spins on this whole thing, is that you're in a position to either get yourself to the table if you're not invited to the table, but many of us are. We're invited to the table to actually help our organizations and our systems develop that culture of research and driving innovation and collaboration across disciplines. So it's challenging, but it's a lot of fun. So opportunities for growth. You influence research priorities. Associate deans shape institutional research goals and priorities, hopefully with maximum impact to your institutions and your system. Build collaborations. You have opportunities to foster national and international partnerships to enhance research visibility and impact. Career advancements for yourself. If you're interested in this being a launch pad for a dean or some sort of a vice president for research, or even a provost, those opportunities come across our desks. Sometimes they're internal opportunities that open up. Many times, they're external opportunities where we are asked or to consider a position at other institutions within the state or across the nation. Foster supportive environments is another opportunity for growth. Leading initiatives like the centers and institutes that I've talked about that build infrastructure and align with all of these things. You see opportunities that are needed within your university. You make proposals, and many times they're accepted, and you're given the resources to actually establish those institutions and centers that your organization would benefit from, and really to build a culture that establishes opportunities for further growth around future leaders within your institution. So career advancement preparation, how do you even begin to think about it? pathways to these types of roles or executive roles that you might want to consider, you want to look at how you might take, what's true about this is that you can transfer the competencies that you learn in the associate dean to a lot of these leadership roles, because we learn within associate deans of research how to navigate how your institution manages the Office of Sponsored Programs, how finances manage, how contracting and legal manages things, how you onboard faculty and researchers. And so you really do have a set of transferable leadership skills that take you into a trajectory, and hence why dean positions are often ideal candidates are associate deans of research that have built these skills over, particularly those that have built it over time, over a good length of time. And then impacting research policy. We have opportunities to do that career trajectory. A lot of us are fellows in the Academy, the American Academy of Nursing, where we not only influence our institutional research strategy, but we have opportunities to influence policy at national levels as well in these roles. So definitely career trajectories beyond the associate dean position. So how do you begin to prepare or think about this? You want to build your leadership skill development. You want to build mentorship and sponsorship. How do you do that in terms of gaining those skills better? Well, you can begin to mentor younger faculty or faculty that are coming onboarding, or graduate students or your undergraduate students with your honors programs. Lots of opportunity to build those types of skills. Engagement in committees at your organization level, in your research councils, in committee structures that you might have, IRB opportunities to step into those types of roles. You can engage at SNRS with RIGs that help you with this, significantly help you with this. Also, though, a lot of our associations and specialty organizations engaging in their research committees is another great way to prepare to transition. Professional development, participating in associations like SNRS is one of the best advantages to begin to think about how to advance your research career as well as a leadership role that you may want to play. And then, of course, the American Academy of Nursing also really helps you prepare. But I would encourage, even if you're not a fellow in the Academy, engaging now with the Academy is also just an excellent way to network, make connections. And if you aspire to actually be inducted as a fellow, it really helps you get that footing. So I would encourage you all to do that as well. So with that, I'd like to conclude and open it up for discussion, because I think, how much time do we have left, Dr. Naka?
We do have a little bit, about 30 minutes. So we're
That's
good.
excellent. That's what I was hoping. So if it felt like I
Yeah.
was talking fast and moving fast, it was very intentional. So
You were perfect.
I'd like to open it up for others to share their experience as associate deans, because mine looks very different. I shared my clinical informatics role, but I would like a few of you to actually, you are muted, so I'll need to unmute you. But if you would be willing to, I know we've got several of you out there, so I'd love for you to share as well. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Let me see if I can figure out how to stop share. And let's engage a little bit. All right. So anyone, please raise your hand and let's talk about other roles. And if I don't get some raising their hand, I may actually call on you that I think have interesting, different roles.
I know Dr. Patel is here. He's a vice president of dean as well. So Dr. Patel, we might want to hear from you.
That's exactly, Dr. Patel was going to be who I was going to call upon if he didn't raise his hand. I know he unmuted. Can you hear us, Dr. Patel?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Okay, good. Sorry, I got multiple screens, multiple microphones. The one that I was on wasn't working. But yeah, thank you for already giving me a promotion. So I'm not the vice president for research. I just hold the title of vice dean for research, which is just another nomenclature that's used at a lot of R1 institutions for the title of assistant dean, associate dean, or sometimes a vice dean. It just provides a different level of hierarchy within the school. But career trajectory wise, is very much in line with what Dr. McBride said. I was actually recruited away from my previous institution to serve as the inaugural assistant dean for translational science, which was very similar to the assistant dean for research that Dr. McBride advocated for. And then from there, just because of people moving to other institutions, I just naturally was able to step into the vice dean for research position at my university here. But yes, assistant, associate, full professor, and then working my way up into the administrative roles. So my area of research is centered on biobehavioral research. And so going to what Dr. McBride was saying is that we get to definitely push our initiatives locally within the school, as well as serving as liaisons for our faculty across campus. And that's the biggest, most beneficial part of this job, in all honesty, is being able and seeing the bridges being built between our school and the other schools across campus, as well as other institutes and centers. So University of Texas Medical Branch is an academic health campus, academic health center in the UT system. And so we're not a conventional four-year traditional university. And so what we look like is a little bit different than what many of you may look like institutionally. And so our School of Nursing is just upper division only with some graduate programs. And then all the other schools on campus are professional schools like medicine, graduate school for biomedical sciences, population health, and health professions. And so our motivations are a little bit different because of an academic health campus. Our goal is to really impact our catchment area, which is another area of focus that I have is in the Vice Dean for Research work, is to not only just make our faculty and staff popular among the university, but also make them popular amongst the community. So that way, what we're doing within our four walls and what we're doing within our research doesn't end at the publication, but it also translates out into community outreach and making sure that what we're doing at the university is having a direct impact on the patients and the communities that we serve. So a little extra to add on to what Dr. McBride talked about.
Yeah, I think aligning on what I was saying about all of our rules look a little different depending on what our institutions look like. And so I think Dr. Patel just reinforced that. Do we have other associate deans of research out there? And I think Holly Way is out there. And if I'm not mistaken, Dr. Way, were you an associate dean of research prior to becoming dean at Texas Tech? I might surprise you a little bit calling on you, but I think that might have been one of your career pathways to dean. Is that correct?
Well, I want to just listen to you just to see how I'm going to support my faculty, actually. Yes, so I would think I concur. I was thinking to type in the chat. I didn't want to put my name out there. Yes, I was the associate dean for research, and then the dean. My trajectory was, starting with a faculty, assistant professor, associate professor. Then I became the assistant dean for PhD program, associate dean for research, and the interim dean and the dean. I told people I've never missed a step. Seems like, just followed, did not plan my life this way. So sometimes I want to see, just be prepared if there's an opportunity arises, then you can take it. So don't wait. So I do not have opportunity. I'm waiting for the opportunity. Don't wait for that. Just be prepared. Prepare to the best capability of yourself, and then the opportunity will come. So some people mistakenly thought it's the opportunities here, and then we do it. It's actually just the other way around. I just heard another Dr. Patel mention is that you will reach out to all these things. I did not apply. Is people been calling me, the deans calling me, and recruiters calling. So just make yourself be visible. How to be visible used to be you open your door and people can see you. You put it somewhere. Go to conferences, presentations, and publications. That's how you get your name out there. And then when they see you publish, you will for sure get so many emails. I think that's how you do it. And then people invite you for being keynote speakers and you get a, higher platform every step of the way. So thank you, Dr. McBride, for this wonderful presentation.
Well, I think it was just perfect because, we do get called upon to lead, I
That's
think.
right.
Many of us have talked about as associate deans that we are getting, recruitment type calls, some of which some of our colleagues are interested in, others, no, we're good here. And so, but I also had that same call. I was not thinking about an associate dean of research at all. And when UT Tyler opened up this position, I got a call from the dean who knew I had moved to East Texas. I think I've got the perfect job for you. And so would you consider? And it's those types of calls that you get that, you're called upon to lead. And so it's certainly been rewarding for me. And it sounds like for Dr. Way, it's been rewarding for her as well. And actually, I was formerly at Texas Tech. So she, as I was
I
saying,
know, I heard about you. I
she
was
was
sad. I was
so
sad. You
yeah.
already left. I came here, they said you just left. I was like, oh no. And another thing I want to see is that even at our own university, because as a dean, now Associate Dean Dr. McBride and Dr. Patel, when you look for leaders, you look for the ones who have already stepped up and wanted to do some things, want to support the school. That's what I want to say. I always tell my leader, I said that it's not like I gave you the position. I did not give you the position. I said, you earned the position. Because when we look, we want to see people standing tall and above everybody else. So that's the one we are going to pick. But not just yelling at everybody, it's the action, the behavior, the gratitude, the attitude. That's what we are looking for. The skill we can train, but the attitude you can't. So I have give you an example. I had someone basically with the CCE. That person has never ever done the CCE, never written a self-report and nothing. But I see that attitude, that the characteristics of that person, and I just reach out to her. I said, I would like for you to take this on. And she, up to this day, she's still very gracious because I see her. That's why I said I did not give you the job because I see you have the characteristic to take this on, to lead, to take that area to the next level. So be that person.
Yeah, that's awesome input. I think too, we seeing people and their opportunity,
Yes.
helping to make those connections for them. Awesome. So Dr. Naka, you had a very different career trajectory. I came into it with, lots of years of experience behind me, and you came out of a PhD program and it just stepped into your role beautifully. So in fact, we've asked him to come talk to young faculty, and others have asked you to come to talk to young faculty because yours has looked really different. So would you share your story?
Absolutely, Dr. McBride. And you get part of the credit because I met you at a very early phase of my transition. And like Dr. Weiss said, I think it's more of putting yourself out there and defining what you want from day one. Research has always been my passion, my program of research in chronic disease and digital therapeutics. And I wanted to pursue it in a way that have impact, not just doing it because I'm doing it. So when I'm at a very new College of Nursing. We're at a health science center that has been in existence since 1973, but our college is new, right? So our dean onboarded me, and I think someone is trying to be admitted. And I would say I got the role because individuals saw what I was capable of doing. Like Dr. Weiss said, I might not have the 30 years of experience, but they watched and saw me and knew that you have those attributes, then you can be trained on those hard skills. The soft skills is really what matters, and the passion to put yourself out there. I think Dr. Wake just captured it beautifully. Most people think you have to, be ambitious or, be loud. It's really the attitude that you bring to the work. I remember, Dr. McBride, when you first launched the the initiative for the Texas Associate Deans for Research that transformed to our RIG. It was a service opportunity. We all shared a common mindset, advancing research in the region collaboratively. I knew I had a lot to learn, and I saw you as a leader in that field, already doing it for years. And I followed your path, and we kind of collaboratively built this beautiful entity and alongside with other ADR. So I think for me, it's more of the soft skills than you can learn later. Nursing is really in demand of leaders who can step up, but oftentimes stepping up is not being out there talking about yourself. It's those actions that you take, your visibility, presenting, offering yourself out at national organizations, going to conferences. So that's how I got to where I am. And then I was fortunate enough to have good training. I trained with one of the best in the institution at my, PhD program and postdoc. Talking about being an ADR, given that I haven't had the conventional trajectory, it was a steep learning curve because you're right, you're managing portfolios. And our institution, we went from $0 to millions in less than 3 years. So you're managing portfolios, and we onboarded faculty that everyone is ambitious to submit grants. So that project management skill is something that I think is very critical to the role, because there's going to be multiple roles, multiple opportunities that everyone is pursuing, and you have to keep tab of them. And the strategic development of the vision of the college is good as well. It's an important aspect. And oftentimes in this role, I think this is why ADRs are tapped to become deans or vice president, because yes, you are working with your college, but you're aligning your strategic plan with your dean, and you're making sure that it's in alignment with the institution. So where I am, we are a very strong line of communication with upper leaderships, because you can't just develop a strategic plan of operations that doesn't align with the institution. You align with your dean, you align with your institution. You are ensuring that every single actions you're taking not only benefits your college, your dean, benefits the institution as well. For us, we are challenged to do work that just don't benefit your college. So I just hosted a webinar yesterday on AI that, serves the entire institution. All of these things are things that you do as an ADR. Another piece is the communication piece. I think, Dr. McBride, you hinted to that. As an ADR, your communication ability has to be crystal clear and on point. There's so many moving parts, and if any slight decline in your approach of communication would have ripple effect, and your faculty is relying on you. There are communication coming from the institutional OSP. When a grant is the entire life cycle of a grant, if you have 10 grants going on in your institution, the entire life cycle, you are keeping tab on every single grant. If you wake me up, I know which one has finished, which one is still in the process, which one has the OMAU down, which one is having issues with OSP. You have to keep tab of all of this. And I think it took me about a year to recognize that. But those are the skills, but you don't have to know it coming into the role. You can learn it in those roles with the right mentor. So it's been a privilege and an honor. I'm going into my 3rd year now. So, and like you all said, you don't look for a job, you get reached out to. I can tell you how many times I've been reached out to, and I'm deciding to stay where I am for me. But you will get more opportunities once you've done the role, you've proven yourself. Others will see it and reach out to you.
I think one thing I'm hearing in your speaking that I thought about that I really wanted to make sure to share is that there is no orientation to this role. Nobody's going to bring you in and say, okay, this is exactly what you need to do day one. This is what your first year is going to look like. You have to figure that out. And so one of the things that we did that started this RIG way back when that Tony Chris was speaking to is many of us figured out across the state that we were new in our roles within our organizations, or we've never filled this role before. So how might we collaborate to learn from each other and share lessons learned? And it was so advantageous that we took it to the deans and directors of Texas, and it was suggested that we create this SNRS RIG. And so it's expanded beyond Texas now into the Southern Nursing Research group of ADRs and those aspiring to be ADRs. So you're welcome at our table within our RIG. So You don't have to be a director of research or an associate dean or an assistant dean. With that, I would like one of our assistant deans that I know that is on, Dr. Dixie Rose, you want to talk a little bit about your role so that those that are listening know about what that trajectory looks like?
Certainly. I'll just start with my path here. Dr. Way, Dr. Naka, and everyone has really hit on it. I didn't necessarily, this was kind of one of those things I thought, well, I would like to do this when I grow up. I did not have it on my radar anytime soon. I remember at SNRS last year, Dr. Naka said, do you think you might want to do this? It's like, someday, but I was thinking someday. But with that, I just put in the work. You know, I submitted abstracts. I was active with research here at UT Tyler and was recognized and tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, would you consider this? So what they've said, I second that, is very much the pathway of how I've ended up in the assistant dean role. And then as far as what I actually do, I have the privilege of supporting Dr. McBride. So I work anywhere from helping develop and present educational opportunities to our faculty, working alongside and mentoring our new research faculty that come in under her guidance. We've done workshops together at state agencies and things, and taking in some of those daily, more mundane seeming tasks, which none of them are mundane. They're all extremely fun, but things that I can take off her plate. So in many ways, the assistant dean role is how can I support and make my associate dean even more productive and effective? And the benefit that I get from that is the mentoring that I receive along the way. And you know, just the discussions each time that we meet and I bring a question, or how would we handle this, or what should we do with this faculty that's come needing assistance. I gain so much knowledge, and I find myself each day feeling a little more confident and willing when a question comes to me. It's like, okay, I know this one, so I can take it from here. So it really is a supportive role. I'm sure, just like the associate dean, will differ between institution and between the relationship that you have with the associate dean. But I just consider it a real honor and privilege to be able to come alongside and bear the burden and shift some of those responsibilities to help Dr. McBride increase her effectiveness in the role of our associate dean.
The one important thing I think for us as associate deans that pull in assistant deans, particularly if they are tenure track in building their own portfolio, is to honor the fact that they have their own research portfolio, because it could be very easy for me to burden Dr. Rose down with all of these things that she's taking off my plate. So periodically I'll ask her, how are you, well, we are working on her portfolio, and a lot of things that we're doing together are working on that trajectory, which helps her mentor others with how I'm mentoring her. So I think that's an important piece, that we don't lose sight of the fact that if we pull in an assistant dean to help us, that we don't overburden them so that they can't do their own science. So hopefully I'm still doing that, Dr.
Oh, very much so. Very much so.
Anyone else like to contribute? Dr. Patel, you come off video. Anything further? Any other thoughts?
Yeah, just honestly, I know we've presented our perspectives of opportunities that have come across our desk, and we've taken advantage of those opportunities. But in all honesty, don't hesitate to shoot your shot, right? If you see an opportunity out there, throw your CV in the ring and see what happens. The worst thing that could happen is that you get the experience of the interview and you get a better understanding of what the role entails and what the requirements are of this administrative position, because it really is a heavy administrative position. But there are benefits to it. So definitely don't hesitate. If you see an opportunity, shoot your shot, take the opportunity to learn from it. The worst that could happen is that you walk away with some experiential learning and you know how to prep yourself for the next iteration of the if and when the opportunity comes.
We didn't talk much about, contract and salaries. They all look different. And most of the positions are 12-month contracts. Some of our faculty have 9-month contracts. These are staff leadership, administrative type roles in most institutions. So they're going to be, the associate dean level is going to be a 12-month contract. There are salary benefits that, I'm not going to share a whole lot of detail, but it's certainly an improvement over professor or faculty. You do, and sometimes it's a stipend. It just depends on how your university elects to manage that role. But there are financial benefits. It's a lot more responsibility. You can lose some sleep over some of the things that you might worry about. So you do want, if you're thinking about going into these roles, don't be afraid to negotiate what you're worth. And so I would say that, and many of us are willing. I pulled a prior dean and someone who had been an associate dean, moved into a research, then moved into a dean position, who mentored me when I was considering the position, because I had no idea. So don't be afraid to use your network and call one of us. If in fact the position does come, the opportunity does come forward, many of us are willing to share our experiences and how we navigated the negotiation of onboarding and what you want to look for and what resources, if you're called upon to step into the position. I was advised, what should you have before you commit? So that you're not set up for failure, frankly. So there were some, basics that I went in with. They asked me to do a moonshot, in terms of what I would try to negotiate for infrastructure. But I also recognized this was not a huge institution with enormous budget. They were only beginning to invest in an associate dean role. So I had to be willing to be flexible there with what I was advised to go for that moonshot of everything you absolutely want or don't take the role, to what's reasonable. And so those are other things that I think we have to consider as we go into this. So any other final comments before we close out? I hand to Dr. Naka to close out the day.
Thank you, Dr. McBride. We still have about 7 minutes, so we can take a question. If anyone in the audience have a question, a burning question that would want Dr. McBride to answer, or Dr. Patel or Dr. Rose.
Feel free to unmute or offer the question in chat. I don't see anything right now.
Well, if that's the case, I think there's yeah. Was someone trying to say something?
Hey everybody, this is Ansley Stanfill from the University of Texas Health Science Center in Houston, where I serve as the Associate Dean of Research. I'm so sorry, I'm traveling. I made it through all of the delays to come to the ISON conference in Montreal. And so I missed the slides, but I was wondering if they were going to be made available because I really appreciate it. I was able to join for the discussion, and I totally echo and agree with all of the points that were raised. That was really great insight from our other ADRs.
Yes.
They are going to be available.
Okay. Thank you.
So sorry I missed them. I can't help, but at least I made it. I didn't get stuck anywhere.
Yes,
Perfect.
enjoy Canada.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ansley. So what we can do, Dr. McBride, we can share the slide with Casey, and she can share with those who registered for the event. But with that said, Dr. McBride, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for your incredible leadership, for all that you've done, launching this rig as well, and your leadership in serving as the first year of the rig. So we appreciate you. And thank you, everyone, for coming on board. If you have any question, please reach out to each and every one of us, and we'll be happy to help. The associate dean role is an incredible opportunity to start building your visibility. And if you are have the ambition for VP of Research deans, this is really where it starts. A lot of us go into the next dean roles of VP of Research. So anything you need, reach out to either one of us. Dr. McBride, I know her schedule is very packed. but often, of course, reach out to her and see how she can be of help to you. And to Rose as well, who is currently serving as an assistant dean for research, and to all of us in those roles. But with that said, thank you so much for joining. We appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and take it easy.
We hope to see you in Austin, Texas as well.
Yes, yes, Austin, Texas. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.